For baseball on the final Saturday of spring, and a big house expected at PNC Park for a pair of NL Central rivals. Father's Day weekend celebration in full swing as the Pittsburgh Pirates play host to the defending World Series champion Chicago Cubs. With that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth with Hall of Famer John Smoltz. Ken Rosenthal with us as well. Matt Vasgersian. The Cubs took the opener in this series yesterday. They needed a 6-run ninth to do it. A win today or tomorrow gets Chicago a road-winning series for the first time in about 6 weeks. And, John, at 500, people are waiting for the defending World Series champs to just kind of click it into gear.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. You think about it. Lucky the division has not gone away. They're right there, only 2.5 back. I think the Cubs can't just push a button, but it starts with the starting pitching. And it may start with Jake Arrieta getting back to that form of being a dominant ace. The starters have not been what they were last year, getting out of the gate slow, first inning trouble, and therefore that's why they're around 500.
The offensive productivity also pales in comparison to what the Cubs accomplished last year, though of late they've heated up. 35 runs in the last 5 games, and whether it's coincidence or not, their new leadoff hitter Anthony Rizzo seems to be a part of that newfound offense.
Well, he's enjoying it, but the rest of the lineup's got to get clicking, and then they can put maybe Schwarber back in the leadoff spot, but they have missed their leadoff spot. Last year's Dexter Fowler and Rizzo hitting home runs, but they have not gotten more than 2 guys hot at one time. The Cubs offensively are in the bottom, and you cannot think in the start of the season that that was going to be their issue.
So if the Cubs are going to jumpstart their offense by taking their longest tenured player and moving him up in the lineup, it looks like the Pirates are trying to do the same thing by taking their longest tenured player and move him down in the lineup.
Yeah, Andrew McCutchen has been Mr. Everything for the Pirates, and he's been the kind of conversation the last 2 years. Is he on the decline? Well, moving him down, he's gotten hot, and the Pirates are still in this thing. They have to find a way to stay healthy and score runs and, of course, close out games, which they haven't done very well of late. So the Pirates are an interesting case, but McCutchen's definitely heating up.
Well, last season the Cubs dominated the Pirates, taking 14 of 18 head-to-head. So far this season, it's been a different story. Pittsburgh has held their own against the defending World Series champs, taking 4 of their first 7. Starting lineups and opening pitch. Baseball Night in America next on Fox. .86 degrees to officially kick off the Father's Day weekend celebration. Folks walking across the Clemente Bridge and ready for baseball. Let's take a look at Joe Maddon's lineup card as Anthony Rizzo once again leads things off. We'll post the whole lineup for you in just a moment, but Rizzo's been the big story for this Cubs team, leading things off. And maybe Joe Maddon put him up there as a lark on Tuesday. It worked. He hit a home run, part of a big victory. Homered again on Wednesday, leading off at Citi Field, and almost made it 3 straight games with a leadoff home run. In fact, a lot of folks thought he had when he tucked this ball fair yesterday. In fact, the initial ruling on the field was a fair ball home run. Then the umpires convened and said it was a foul ball. They looked at it again, and there was not enough video evidence to change the call, so Rizzo denied a third straight game with a leadoff home run. Here's the lineup in earnest for the Cubs, looking to make it 2 in a row to start this series. The Pittsburgh product, the local guy Ian Happ, the switch hitter in center field, batting number 2 tonight. Bryant, Montero, and Russell 3 through 5. Jason Hayward, Javi Baez, Kyle Schwarber, and Jake Arrieta round things out for the Cubs. It is Ivan Nova making his 14th start of the year. The 30-year-old veteran right-hander likely en route to the All-Star game in Miami next month.
Well, in a day and age where strikeouts become the fad and the norm, he really goes against that grain. He pitches effectively early and pitches to contact, so he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, throws a lot of strikes, and is trying to get for economy. I think the big story is going to be whether or not that curveball that Nova has is on point. Fastball, sinker, curveball, and he likes to use his defense. If he's on, he's throwing strikes.
Well, he has been a very pleasant add for the Pirates since coming over from the Yankees last break. As you saw, the numbers after the trade deadline, quite a turnaround for Nova as compared to what he had done as a Yankee for the 3 years previously.
Rare you start off the game with a curveball, but I would anticipate he's going to throw a first pitch curveball after what we've just talking about with Rizzo.
Anthony Rizzo digs in and is ready to go. We're underway in Pittsburgh tonight. And it's a fastball that misses off the plate. A ball and no strikes to Rizzo, who's hit safely in 10 in a row. The 3-time All-Star, the power stroke heated up, 15 home runs at the start of play. A ball and a strike to Chicago's leadoff hitter. You know, you talk about Ivan Nova, John, and how he's such a throwback in this day and age of max effort, shorter starts, bigger strikeout totals. Nova's been that one guy in the Pirates rotation that Clint Hurdle and Ray Searage can count on length from.
And a game recently in Atlanta, he had 55 pitches through 7 innings and was cruising. He gave up a few runs late in the 8th, but I think when you change scenery and you get to a situation where a guy like Ray Searage has had so much going for him and making pitchers turn their careers around, this is another example.
And Rizzo dumps off a 2-strike pitch into right center field, the leadoff base hit. Ricky Henderson Rizzo is on base to start a game yet again. 4 times in the leadoff spot, and he's been on base in all 4 of those to lead off a ball game.
Well, the famous choke up on the bat, more than anybody else in the league, and he really prides himself on putting the ball in play and not striking out. Now Happ also full of power, but a lot of swings and misses. Very aggressive early is Ian Happ.
7 home runs in his first taste of Major League Baseball. The former first-round choice of the Cubs and local product, and he rolls that one out to second for Frazier, on to Mercer for 1, and the relay pulls Bell off the bag. So the Pirates unable to convert on what looked like a room service double play ball.
Yeah, he hit it off the end of the bat. Sounded like he broke his bat maybe, and good speed by Happ. You see the toss and then the throw on. Of course, the good speed, and maybe even the Pirates might want to look at it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure they're going to.
I don't know that Bell came off the bag at all.
He's going to be, my call says out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not in the business of making predictions because we're usually wrong, but
well,
that
close.
looks pretty clear,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but it's close. It's very close, and you know, much to the dismay of the Cubs last night, first inning. See if they get the same scenario happen for them in tonight's first inning.
Yeah, Joe Madden didn't have a chance to stick around very long yesterday because he came out after that controversial home run was taken off the board and was promptly ejected from the ball game. A quick response from New York, and yes, the call is overturned. It's a double play.
That's great. I do my scorecard in pen, and of course I wrote down 4-6. But I can add the 3.
You're going to cash out now. 2 at-bats in, you're already going to crumple it up.
Nope, I've got a nice streak working.
So 2 gone and the base is empty. Clint Fagan has home plate tonight. The crew chief Jeff Kellogg is out at second base. So 2 gone, base is empty now for the 2-time All-Star Chris Bryant. Bryant got a day off yesterday. And in visiting with Joe Madden before the game today, and Joe had said it previously, he felt like Chris had really worn down. And near the end of the series against the Mets in New York, thought that fatigue had played a major factor in a 6-for-27 slide for Bryant over his last 9 games.
Yeah, it's rare the lineup will not have a 3 in it, meaning nobody in the average department starts with a 3 for the Cubs. Bryant was there for a while.
Ball and 2 strikes. Quick worker Ivan Nova out in front with 2 away.
But you can see the sinking action. He's really a rhythm pitcher. Big, tall guy. Sometimes his mechanics got the best of him, and he had a hard time commanding that sinker, and he follows it up with a curveball that we're going to see right here.
It is a 1-2 breaking ball that misses outside. 2-2 now. For most of the Cubs in the lineup today, this is a first-time experience facing Ivan Nova. Only a handful of Chicago hitters have ever seen as much as 1 plate appearance against their assignment today. Montero's one of them. He is 0 for 1 in his career against Ivan Nova. So a small sample size even for those that have faced him. And Bryant strikes out. Nothing despite the leadoff single. Ivan Nova off to a strong beginning this evening. Jake Arrieta's turn to go to work in a scoreless start to the night. Lineup in the bottom half of the first. Pirates lead it off with Adam Frazier's hit safely in 5 of his last 6. Clint Hurdle has Cervelli and Polanco batting 2 and 3. David Freese, Josh Bell, and Andrew McCutchen 4 through 6. John Jaso, Jordy Mercer, and Ivan Nova round out the lineup for a Pirates team that has had trouble generating big numbers. And until recently, that had really been the case against Jake Arrieta. Arrieta on the mound for the Cubs, making his 14th start of the year tonight.
Yeah, Jake's trying to get back to that level where all 4 pitches the hitter had to worry about. Command can be a problem.
And Frazier obliges on the first pitch, and Arrieta lost it. Wow, it was like the thing was greased, and when it scored it away from Jake's hand, he lost his footing. And I'm afraid you're going to be seeing that one for a while on the highlight shows.
Yeah, first pitch, little sinker, hit right back to him. And he reaches and gets it, and at the end of the glove is where the ball was, and then the ball absolutely avoids his hand. And a rough start there for Jake. And one of the things that he struggles with when runners get on is holding them on. This whole Cubs team has been known for, if you are have any speed at all, you need to go, because they don't throw many base stealers out.
Francisco Cervelli now with the leadoff hitter aboard on the first pitch, and Frazier will run 5 bags in 9 attempts this year. In that vein, John, let's take a look at the keys to the game, sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Yeah, get on and go. Basically, when you get on base, do the best you can to get a jump and steal as many as you possibly can to put pressure on Jake. And risky business, that is Chicago's kryptonite right now. Runners in scoring position, they have been awful in driving them in. They need to be better and have a better approach.
0-1 to Cervelli. A little check in on Adam Frazier. Yeah, it's not just with John Lester out there. There's been so much discussion about how opponents take liberties on base against Lester. Arrieta just as guilty, and as a result, none of the Cubs catchers have really sparkling numbers in trying to throw out would-be thieves. Miguel Montero's back there tonight, and he's been able to throw out only one of the 24 base stealers that he's been faced with this year.
Well, the leg kick of Arrieta is the reason why you can steal. He is slower to home plate. It's a leg kick where he goes up and then turns his body. I know this day and age we don't see a lot of stolen bases and a lot of runs or a lot of people trying to run, but when it's out there and it's pretty obvious, you have to take advantage of it.
Ball and a strike to count to Cervelli. Let's take a look at the defense for the Cubs. Always a lot of choices for Joe Maddon when he fills out his lineup card. And this is how they line up defensively tonight with Schwarber, Happ, and Hayward in the outfield. Bryant and Russell on the left side of the infield. Baez and Rizzo on the right. And Miguel Montero, we talked about the stolen base crisis for the Cubs trying to defend, and it'll be his task to try to keep the Bucks from running tonight. And again, Cervelli punches it foul.
You know, Matt, there's a lot of metrics out there trying to quantify things. One that I think is very deceiving, and I've yet to see the opposite, where runs or defensive efficiency, right? Last year the Cubs were about as good as it gets, but so were their pitchers. It goes hand in hand. The pitchers this year, not so good. What is their run differentiate? 8. It's not so good. And I think it starts with the pitchers. We want to quantify things to make it look like analytics is doing an incredible thing.
That ball's in play. Montero tries to throw down to second. It's too late, but they do get the out at first. Boy, a very heads-up play around the second base bag to at least get the out on Cervelli.
Well, you see a ball that hit about 4 inches in front of home plate, and he throws kind of a puff ball to second, but of course Baez has the ability to make up for that. But to finish that thought, you know, you're talking about a pitching staff last year that dominated, hit their spots. They don't shift a lot, do the Cubs. And when you're throwing the baseball as well as they did, you're going to get soft contact. You get soft contact with athletes, they're going to make the plays.
A 1-out runner in scoring position now for the right fielder Gregory Polanco, who's sitting on an 0 for 12, and going back a little bit farther, just 3 for his last 31. Polanco's had some health issues this year. Nagging shoulder injury got him off to a slow start in April. You talk about the Cubs outfield. The Pirates outfield has been their strength the last couple of years, and when healthy and eligible, the group of McCutchen, Polanco, and Starling Marte, who is serving a PED suspension, is one of the best in the game. And Polanco has officially snapped out of his 0 for 12. Number 4 for Polanco puts the Pirates on top early.
Well, he had struggled against Jake Arrieta coming in. 147. He gets a slider, and that's been the one pitch for Arrieta that's been flat and a high average against. His curveball's been sharp, and actually Polanco has a hard time hitting curveballs. But he went to the slider, and you saw what Polanco was able to do with it. That's his second home run now off of Jake Arrieta.
And now David Freese, and a bad trend apparently for Chicago continuing here. first inning pitching woes have been very curious, and it's something that Joe Maddon's doing his best to try to navigate through. You get a guy in Polanco who'd been ice cold. A base runner and a 2-run home run, and that first inning ERA is rising as we speak.
Yeah, you know, last year again, when you're winning and your pitchers are dominating early, the offense just keeps adding on, and they beat up teams. This year they're always trying, or at least seems to come back.
Freeze with the one-hopper out to Russell for out number 2.
And for Jake, it's been 4 through 6 that's been a better 3 innings of work. It's 1 through 3 he's really struggled.
Two gone, bases empty now for the switch hitting rookie first baseman Josh Bell. Bell has homered against Arrieta this year, and overall has hit safely in 7 of his last 8. Two-run home run by Gregory Polanco starting the scoring tonight. You've probably noticed by now, and we should point out the Major League Baseball weekend celebration of Father's Day, and around the league teams are wearing shades of blue dressed into their uniform code, not just bats and wristbands as had been the case in previous years, but Major League Baseball trying to garner up support and awareness for prostate cancer, again donating all royalty payments from the sale of those specialty caps and jerseys to the Prostate Cancer Foundation and Stand Up to Cancer, as Bell is aboard on a 2-out walk. So now Andrew McCutchen, who, as we talked about when we went on the air, John, has been red hot, back to the Andrew McCutchen we're used to seeing ever since being moved down to the number 6 spot in the order.
Yeah, the bat looks a little bit quicker, as does his mechanics more in sync, pulling the ball, and that makes his hands look quicker to the ball. Got to pitch him away, got to be able to off speed him, but McCutchen, some were saying maybe over rotating a little bit while he was swinging, which delays the hands, but now he looks more in sync. And the average is showing it.
6 multi-hit games in his last 9 starts, and is in front 2-0. That draws a visit from Miguel Montero.
And when I say the hands quick, he was one of the best I've ever seen at throwing a high fastball or in and turning on it. And when they're not quick, or the perception that he's not in sync with his mechanics, he'll hit a lot of lazy fly balls and a lot of ground balls that don't just seem like he's getting the barrel of the ball to the bat quick enough. And that's where some people thought last year he had some injuries, which contributed to his downward trend of his average and power.
In front, 2 balls and no strikes. How much of the bad start, though, from McCutchen has to do with batting second as compared to just not getting off to good starts in general? Because Clint Hurdle, in our visit with him today, is of the mind that, you know, maybe April is the problem, not necessarily where Andrew bats. And if you look at the back of his baseball card, McCutchen's had really only 1 good April in his career. 3-1 now. This season, without question, he has heated up as we get closer to summer. Again, that June coincides with being moved down in the orders, so I think there are a few things at work there for him. John Jaso waiting on deck. McCutchen with the ground ball to the shortstop hole. Nice play by Russell to prevent any further damage. But Gregory Polanco's first extra base hit since May 28th, a 2-run home run, has given the Pirates an early lead at home. Is sponsored by Witness the End, War for the Planet of the Apes, in theaters July 14th. Hey, tonight we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every home run and strikeout in this game raises money for prostate cancer research. Since June 1st, over $3.3 million have been raised in the challenge. You can make a pledge by going to homerunchallenge.org. And that promises, John Smoltz, as you know, to be a lucrative thing, because the way the game is going right now, one of every 3 plate appearances, either a walk, a home run, or a strikeout. Timing of that couldn't be any better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's Miguel Montero to lead things off in the second for Chicago. Montero, Russell, and Hayward against Ivan Nova.
Well, the Cubs offensively looking to get going. One thing they have maintained is their ability to walk. They definitely still draw a lot of walks.
That's something that you don't plan on a lot of against this particular starter. However, Nova's been about as stingy as they come. He's got the best walk to strikeout ratio in baseball this year, among qualified starters, that is. A 10-pitch first for Nova. His 1-2 home is fouled away by Montero. You know, we talked about Nova coming to the Pirates last year in a deal that not many people thought was be as impactful as it has been for Pittsburgh. Just foul in the corner and right. Well, since coming to the Steel City, his 11-6 record and 2.93 ERA includes 5 complete games, which is the most in the big league since the time of the trade. There's no denying he has turned into the frontline guy here for the Pirates.
Yeah, he sure has. And again, you know, the American League is quite different. Of course, you got the extra batter in some of the parks.
And Montero pops it up. It's a relatively long plate appearance by Nova's standards, 1 away.
And the pressure of where he was in New York and so living up to so much of the expectation, he comes to a different market. He has a different philosophy, and sometimes that's what it takes to be able to go to that next level. And look, once you gain confidence as a pitcher and have success, you pretty much can, unless your personality doesn't allow you to, go anywhere and have that success. And right now, he has revived his career after Tommy John surgery and been able to throw strikes, and he doesn't concern himself with striking out 10-11 guys like everyone else does.
Here's Addison Russell now. Nova starts him with a strike. We'll say hello to Ken Rosenthal for the first time tonight, who Kenny, before we get into Nova, who's the bow tie for this weekend? I guess you're getting into the spirit of the thing here on Father's Day weekend.
Absolutely, Matt. It's stand up to cancer.
A base hit for Russell.
Now, Matt, we're talking about Ivan Nova, and part of it, as John said, is American League to National League. There's no question about it. But part of it also is getting out of the Yankee pressure cooker. With the Yankees, you never knew if he was going start to start, if he was going to the bullpen, getting optioned. There was always that fear. And when he got here, he met with Ray Searage. Ray Searage looked at him in a bullpen and said, listen, just do what you do. Do what you're comfortable doing. Have fun. And from there, Nova took it and ran with it. They basically told him, you're getting the ball every 5th day. Don't worry about it. And that made a big difference.
1 out base runner now for Jason Hayward. And Hayward swings and sends a ball to right. That one well hit, but playable for Polanco for out number 2. Yeah, Kenny, as we discussed before the game, I mean, Ivan Nova has already accomplished some noteworthy things in his short time in Pittsburgh. He's the first Pirate in over 35 years to go at least 6 innings in each of his first 13 starts of the season. We mentioned how he's likely headed to Miami as an all-star this year. And this for a guy that was just considered a middle of the rotation, middle if not back of the rotation guy during his tenure in New York.
That man's done a great job and earned his reputation by the players that he has received and transformed. Some pitchers come over, and for whatever reason, the current organizations don't recognize that they're tipping or giving away their pitches. Well, if you can fix that, you fix a pitcher. And in some cases, it's philosophical and how they approach the game. Ray Searage and this organization has got a good track record in those areas.
First offering is in for a strike to Javier Baez. Baez just 5 for his last 37. That's a $1.35 batting average over his last 14 games. Yeah, you talk about the list of pitchers that Ray Searage has, I don't know if you call it rehab, resuscitate, reinvigorate. Out into shallow center, laying out for it is McCutchen to make the grab. Vintage 2012 Andrew McCutchen, the year he won his Gold Glove in center field here in Pittsburgh. Telecast is sponsored by Michelob Ultra. Tell us why your dad is an Ultra Dad, and Michelob Ultra will donate $1 for every hashtag generated, up to $25,000 to the Good Plus Foundation. 2-0 Pirates on the Gregory Polanco first inning home run. Back with John Smoltz and Ken Rosenthal, Matt Vasgersian. It's John Jaso leading things off in the second. And we want to take you back to the way the top of the inning ended after the great catch by Andrew McCutchen. Addison Russell got into second base and pulled up, apparently in a little bit of pain here, John.
Yeah, rolled his ankle a little bit and hobbling right there the second out. Of course, he didn't have to do anything after that. And they took a look at him and talked to him and made sure that everything was okay. Of course, very athletic middle of the infield. Those ankles are important to covering the ground that he and Baez are able to cover.
2 balls and 2 strikes to John Jaso. Bottom third of the order here in the Pirates half of the second. Jaso, Mercer, and Nova.
Jaso has absolutely been crushing sinking fastballs, but struggling off speed. That's why you're seeing Jake with some changeups with 2 strikes. But hitting almost 583 off the sinker. That's on the year. Curveball here.
Misses the outside corner. Full count now, 3-2.
Jake throws across his body, starts on the third base side of the rubber, and he ends up about as far as you can with your landing foot towards the third base dugout, which creates an illusion to the hitter.
Well, a little bit of everything, and on the appeal down to third, they lose Jaso on ball 4. Or do they? No, they rung him up. John was on his way to first, but they called him out on the appeal.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have been a very big break for Jaso. Nasty slider down and in, and he couldn't hold up the swing. See how much movement that is. Definitely went, but he tried to sell it. It's close.
First strikeout of the game for Arrieta. Despite the walk halfway up the line, and now it's Jordy Mercer, the shortstop. Mercer's hit safely in 23 of his last 28 games. Just 1 for 14 in his career against Jake Arrieta. And we started talking about that earlier, John, the fact that Arrieta had been the Pirates' kryptonite for a number of years. Until recently. Last 4 meetings against the former Cy Young Award winner, the Pirates have hit .309 against him with 7 home runs, and they've beaten him in 3 of those 4 games. Leading into that stretch, Arrieta had made 9 starts against the Pirates, 7-1 with a .86 ERA. As Mercer strikes out. Yeah, Arrieta's success against the Pirates during that stretch is brought to you by Just for Men Conroll GX Gray Reducing Shampoo. Great success against the Pirates over that 9-game period. But of late, and this is the case with a lot of teams, Arrieta's been a little easier to figure out.
Yeah, well, the one pitch that has been successful all year has been that curveball. Tremendous break. Slider, as we already said, has been giving him trouble. But many people are going to forget, look, he had a historic year not too long ago. But last year he started off 5-0 in April, 1 ERA. May followed it up with 4-0, a 2.08 ERA. And then the normal kind of pitchers started to show up. I mean, you're talking about 9-0, and the rest of the way he went 9-8, and the ERA the first 4 months climbed. So on his walk year here in the free agent year, this is part of the it goes into the computer of a pitcher trying to get paid, trying to have a monster year. And right now, there is got to be a little bit of question marks in some people's minds as to which Jake Arrieta are you getting. The guy who was unhittable 2 years ago, of course, won the Cy Young, or the guy from the second half on to this point. In the last 365 days, he's 13-11.
A swing and a miss by Nova means that Arrieta strikes out the side here in the second. The Duquesne incline and a 2-0 Pirates lead. Play Ball is Major League Baseball's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. For more, go to playball.org. A 2-0 lead for the Pirates. Kyle Schwarber, Jake Arrieta, and Anthony Rizzo here in the visitors' half of the third. Schwarber starts play with 12 home runs, a 174 batting average, and a line shot to Josh Bell that's good for round number 1. Well, that'll bring up Arrieta, and as we talked about, John, the last year or so has not been what we saw back in 2015. He was dominant between 2013 and 16. A couple of no-hitters in there, the 2015 Cy Young Award, but this season, a 4.68 ERA at the start of play.
Yeah, you couldn't find a more dominant pitcher than Jake Arrieta. Maybe, of course, Clayton Kershaw, always the king of the hill. But Jake Arrieta in his final year here with the Cubs, looking to finish strong to get a huge contract that has been doled out to a lot of pitchers, and he should get a very big contract. But to the degree of last impressions, fair or not, always create the most current thing that's going on in a general manager's mind.
Well, in fairness, I don't know that his 2015 season was repeatable by anybody. I mean, what he did, especially down the stretch,
it's unbelievable. Second half, unbelievable.
22-6, 1.77 ERA. He threw the no-hitter in Los Angeles on a Sunday night, struck out 12. I mean, at that point for me, he had won the Cy Young Award. And he became the first pitcher since Dwight Gooden in 1985 to win 22 games with an ERA under 2. I mean, seasons like that just don't happen.
No, they don't. And age is not going to be the problem for him, because look at his body. He keeps it in phenomenal shape. That's not going to be an issue. So when you look at an age of a pitcher and how many years they signed somebody to, the age in this case won't be as big of an issue because of the way he trains. The issue is, has his mechanics become more of an opportunity for him to continue to throw strikes, or has he reverted back to some of those funky moments where he gets a little wild?
Anthony Rizzo picks on the first pitch and makes it a 2-for-2 start to the night. You know that Nova's efficient, and I'll ask you this question. He's so efficient that he averages 13 pitches an inning. That's the lowest number in baseball. He had a 10-pitch first, 11-pitch second. He doesn't mess around. Pretty good chance you're going to get a strike early in the count. If you're an opponent, are you thinking the same way?
Well, you should, and he's facing a team that's pretty patient. They don't really aggressively go out. They work the count. We talked about how many walks they have. And what Nova does really well is give you a sinker that looks like it's going to stay up but goes down. That's why his first pitch.
A running lead for Rizzo. Nova notices, and now they've got Anthony in a rundown. Josh Bell applies the tag.
I'll finish that thought later when he goes back out to pitch.
Riz thought he could get away with one. The walking lead. Nothing in the Chicago third. Adam Frazier leads things off in the Pirates half of the third. Frazier, Cervelli, and Polanco the top of the order here. Pittsburgh with a 2-0 lead. The Gregory Polanco home run in the first, the difference early tonight. Jake Arrieta coming off a second inning in which he struck out the side. And a 1-1 start to Adam Frazier.
You see how he throws so far across his body, trying to get an outside sinking fastball. And sometimes he'll pull it. And it's that arm side. When you hear a pitcher talk about, or when they talk about arm side, that means it's the side of his arm in the plate. So to a left-hander, it's an away pitch.
Frazier serves it back up the middle, but it carries right to Happ for out number 1.
And when you talk about glove side, it's that pitch inside. And arm side's giving him issues. So when you see how he throws the baseball, he throws across his body, and he's got to come all the way around to throw a slider that ends up right down the middle that he was trying to throw in. It's those funky mechanics which make him nasty and at the same time difficult to command. He loses strikes from the umpire because he loses the positioning of the baseball. When the catcher is calling for it away, he'll throw it over the plate but won't get the call. So command has become an issue for Jake Arrieta this year.
Here's Cervelli now with 1 out. You know, I'll give folks the data behind that, the numbers, because you talked about how the slider has been the big difference for him this year. It's really striking how last year opponents hit .212 and slugged .358 against his slider. Not much success at all.
Right.
This year, opponents are hitting .382 and slugging .636 against that pitch.
Yeah, and it's just flatter, and because he has to throw so across his body, this curveball right here is a better pitch for him. The ability for it to break. To throw a breaking ball for a pitcher, you have to throw a little bit across your body. So you can imagine a guy who already throws across his body, he's going to create spin. The problem with the slider is that spin is sideways and staying over the plate.
2 balls and a strike to Francisco Cervelli. Catching back-to-back games, by the way, for the first time since coming off the 7-day concussion DL/protocol. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to him here with 1 out and nobody on in the third. Chopper over the mound. And Russell's got it for out number 2. You know, inevitably, when there's a little bit of a regression and a pitcher has a hard time replicating past success, and that pitcher happens to have worked a lot of postseason innings, Ken Rosenthal, the discussion always goes to use and if said pitcher is responding negatively from that kind of use.
It does, Matt. And Jake Arrieta, talking to me yesterday, conceded that has been an issue. His workload the past 2 years, including postseason. His total number of innings, 468 1/3 during that time. And he told me this: as much as we don't want to say that it carries over from season to season, I think it did have some effect. Not hurt, not injured. It's just that I think my body has reacted accordingly, and it's taken a little bit longer to regain the form that I would like to be in. Now think about it, guys. While most pitchers were resting the entire month of October last year, he started Game 2 of the World Series, Game 6 of the World Series, and was warming up in Game 7 on 0 days rest. Maximum exertion, and we're seeing an effect here.
Yeah, and it's not a coincidence, as Gregory Polanco takes a pitch outside, that 3 of the 5 pitchers on that list, most innings worked since the start of 2015, are Cubs. Those totals include the postseason. The Cubs made a long run last year, long run the year before, as Polanco loses a bat. So perhaps that could explain the fact that the Cubs as a rotation have the biggest spike in ERA of any team in baseball. That is from last year.
Well, we kind of live in a defeated mindset and a flawed philosophy in baseball, where every day this is what we talk about, and every day that's what people consume their knowledge on. Oh my gosh, how many innings. There is definitely an issue, but it's not as big as we're making it. Because if that were the case, then people in the past should never been able to do what they did. And maybe I'm the wrong guy to talk to, because I did it 14 years in a row. and you learn how to train. But the mindset, imagine 14 years ago when we were doing it, or however long ago, nobody said coming to spring training, oh my gosh, how are you going to get through this year? You just went all the way to the World Series. Nobody said it, so we were naive and we trained for it. And I was talking, earlier about what you do and how you train. He trains differently. The whole mindset of baseball pitchers train differently, and they don't give themselves enough time to recover and trust that they're going to be okay going to spring training without starting as early as they did.
Polanco with another ball well hit to right, and this one's off the wall. Polanco into second. Boy, he was a few feet away from making it 2 home runs to start his night.
This after throwing the bat a record 100 feet, it seemed like. Another slider that he could not get in, and he thought he might have got it right there. Polanco did, and the taller fence saved this from being a home run. And a 2-out double for Polanco. But to button it up, it's like you're talking about veteran pitchers. You're talking about guys who've been through this. John Lester's been through this, and you find ways to go to spring training a little bit delayed and not be so consumed with the beginning of the year, because your process is going to take you hopefully back to the postseason. Now, I will grant everybody this in the fact that pitchers throw harder today than they ever did, so that max effort is a detriment to their ability to recover year in and year out.
Here's David Freese now trying to pick up that 2-out double by Polanco. Polanco homering in the first, nearly missing a second here. In fact, if Roberto Clemente had worn number 14 instead of 21, that fence in right would be 14 feet high, and maybe Polanco is 2 home runs deeper into his game. Ball and 2 strikes to David Freese.
Also last year, Joe Madden did a nice job spreading out the starters throughout the year. They had such a big lead that they were able to be more prepared going into their run for the postseason. And yes, he did run out of confidence in some of his bullpen guys, so he went to a lot of his starters probably quicker than most, including that guy coming in Game 7 after pitching Game 5. Is that right? He pitched Game 5 and then came back in relief for Game 7. And as you mentioned, Jake Arrieta pitched Game 6 and was warming up. At that point, it's adrenaline.
Yeah. Well, you make a good point, because it was this time of the year last season that Joe is just starting to get his plan in place to give everybody some additional time mid-season. Speaking of his starters, he had Adam Warren taking a rotation spot. Ready, went to the 6-man rotation. He had Mike Montgomery chewing up some valuable innings. They don't have that luxury this year, because not only are they not in first place, or they're not only not leading by a lot, they're not in first place. They're looking up at the Brewers, who, by the way, lost at home to the Padres today.
Both teams got a chance to pick up a game here, whoever wins tonight.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count to David Freese.
I'd drop a curveball right here.
You've been saying that all night.
I'm telling you, his curveball's really good. He hung it this time.
Arrieta's last start Sunday against Colorado, as we take a look at that ball again. He went 4 1/3. His 3rd start of the season where he failed to go 5. And what I found unusual about it is it was the first time all year he did not throw a single changeup. Had nothing to do with the altitude, because the game was at Wrigley. Here's the 3-2 to Freese.
So a right-handed hitter, I've done a couple breakdowns on Jake to show what it looks like. Right-handed hitter, when Jake is throwing a pitch, he's looking in the third base dugout, and he's throwing behind the right-handed hitter. That's the illusion, if you can picture that, what that would be like. So they're seeing a ball come from basically their left shoulder, a right-handed hitter's left shoulder, and he's cutting across.
Got him. Didn't throw a single changeup in his last start. He threw 5 of them this inning alone, the last one to strike out David Freese. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by the Lincoln Continental and by Bank of America. Back along the shores of the Allegheny with John Smoltz and Ken Rosenthal. Matt Vasgersian. Gorgeous night for baseball. As we mentioned earlier, the final Saturday of spring. And the Cubs trailing 2-0 will send local product Ian Happ to the plate to lead off the fourth. Happ, Bryant, and Montero against Ivan Nova. Nova has worked quickly, efficiently, as he has all year. Tonight, he scattered 3 singles, got a double play ball to help him out of a jam. A good catch by Andrew McCutchen, and a caught stealing to minimize the damage on base. And Ian Happ, as has been the case ever since he was called up, offering aggressively in the count and lining out on the second pitch of the at-bat.
Yeah, he's done all his damage literally on the first pitch, because ahead in the count, behind in the count, 2 strikes, he's not hitting anything. So he's been taking advantage early on since he's gotten called up. Aggressive early, but then not much success after that.
Here's Chris Bryant now with 1 away. Great numbers for Bryant against the Pirates, as you can see. OPS well over 1,000.
He's made so many quick adjustments for a young player, just year to year. Of course, winning the Rookie of the Year and winning a MVP, you would think, okay, the guy's talented. Yes, he is, but adjustments in this league are huge. And there for a while, right-handed pitchers were getting him out with changeups. He kind of addressed that. He addressed his swing path in the zone. Now they're starting to follow him with a lot of curveballs, trying anything they can to expose a weakness that other pitchers are trying to get to.
You know, we talk about how good Bryant has been against the Pirates. He has been even better against the Pirates in this ballpark. Drink in this list. The only 3 players in the live ball era with a higher on-base percentage at any park are Ted Williams and Babe Ruth. The only 2 players, that is. Williams had a big number at League Park in Cleveland and Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. And the Babe also in Cleveland. I mean, that's unbelievable. A .529 on base percentage in this ballpark.
Nova just got really upset at himself on that 1-2 curveball that he completely wasted through wide. See if he makes the adjustment.
Wide target by Cervelli. Nova missed it, and it's a full count now, 3-2.
See, I have a hard time believing that's just a misread. I think he threw a sinker there. It wasn't, no way that was 95, but sometimes the pitches down read faster.
First full count against Ivan Nova tonight. Here's a 3-2 home, and he got him.
Changeup. Nova with the 1-2 pitch, trying to get him with the curveball, and he completely spikes it. Cervelli has to anticipate the block just in case there was a wild swing. And then the changeup off the fastball. Arm speed fooled Chris Bryant.
2 out, bases empty now for Miguel Montero.
See, when you talk about the Cubs and their options, that's what makes them such an elite team, you think, that can go back to the World Series. They have so many options. I think that's also what can get them in trouble. I think the options of the amount of playing time that Joe Madden has to give certain guys and the rhythm that it takes in the different positions, I think that can also work against you when you don't have anybody carrying the ball club offensively, and right now that's the case. They're talented, they're young, and everyone forgets that they're young. Because when you win a World Series, you think everybody participated and has the experience of what that's like. But Schwarber missed all of last year and had the incredible end to his year. Happ is brand new, didn't have any experience last year in the World Series. Basically, Contreras only had half a season. So it's a young team with the exception of Rizzo, who's a veteran. Zobrist.
Zobrist on the shelf with the hand/wrist injury. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Miguel Montero. I think it's a whole NL Central thing. 4 of the 5 teams with the biggest scoring decrease in baseball live in this division. The only team who scored more runs than they did last year in that division is the Brewers.
That's a strike.
Full count to Montero now, 3-2.
Wow, right to the glove. Maybe just a tick high.
First full count of the game to Bryant resulted in a strikeout. Back-to-back full count at bats, and the 3-2 to Montero. That's a fair ball. Montero trying to claim that it wasn't, but home plate umpire Clint Fagan was on it quickly. We'll see if Joe Madden has something to say about this. And now the third base official, Will Little, is coming down the line saying that yes, that was a foul ball, and they're going to discuss it. Can't tell from that angle if it hits in front of the plate or not.
Well, the only question is whether it hit him or not, because this ball ends up rolling into fair territory, and that's going to be a fair ball unless it hit him. I think the home plate umpire got it right.
I'm not sure what Montero's trying to claim. That he looked down and then pointed down as though to say that hit the plate. Can't tell if it hit him or not.
Now Clint Hurdle is not going to be very happy about this.
Watch again and try to see if it hits the bat twice.
See, I don't think so. See how wet it is behind the plate? And there's that mud that kicks up, and then I don't know that the ball changed directions at all. It just had that funky spin.
Well, Clint's not happy with what's been decided. It is called a foul ball. So the original ruling by the home plate umpire Clint Fagan that it was in play and the third out has been reversed.
It's a tough one there. I know. I like the fact that umpires get together, and if they see something different, I do like that. That never used to be the case. In the last few years, that has always been encouraged. Of course, we got replay, but that's not a replayable option right there. That's a long ways away. He must have thought that the ball changed directions and hit Montero.
Well, let's see what Montero can do with the second life. Still the full count with 2 gone. The next 3-2 pitch. He lost him on ball 4.
Maybe.
Clint Fagan seemed pretty convinced the home plate umpire was on that off the bat and never hesitated that it was a fair ball. And then after the second life, Nova ends up walking Montero. And by the way, that's news in and of itself, because Ivan Nova had walked only 7 batters in his first 13 starts of the year.
It's a good meeting by Cervelli. I mean, even the 3-2 pitch looked like it was going to be a strike. It could have been called a strike, but wasn't. Settle down your pitcher after you know that you just got the third out, and then you have to retrain yourself to think that no, I didn't. It's just a mental adjustment. It's not that big a deal, and you see the strikeout to walk ratio, best in baseball.
Addison Russell with a chance now. He singled back in the second, a 2-out base runner aboard after the walk. And Russell takes a strike. Russell at just 218, and as was the case with Bryant getting a day off yesterday, Joe Madden gave him a chunk of time off recently. In fact, 3 straight days. Since that little time away, Russell has hit safely in 4 of his next 6 games. Make it 5 of 7 if you count his base hit tonight. Well, you wonder what a pregnant pause like that and a little emotional hiccup can do to the rhythm that Ivan Nova had found himself in the middle of.
Yeah, and that's why it was a good meeting by Cervelli. We have a lot of needless meetings by our catchers, but that one was a good one, just to get him back on track.
Two balls and a strike. A 10-pitch first and 11-pitch second. The caught stealing gave him a 1-2-3 third, and this has become now his longest inning of the night, the 4th, with the 2-out base runner aboard after the walk. Kenny, you were down there on the field for that kind of unusual reversal of the call. What did you see down there?
Well, it's difficult to tell exactly what happened, Matt, but I do know this. Clint Fagan was the umpire at first base last night who had his call overruled by the group on the Anthony Rizzo homer. Tonight, behind the plate, the group meets again and overrules him once more. He's a minor league umpire who is a call-up for major league games, and some of the Cubs believe last night, if it had been a major league umpire who made that call, never would have happened like that.
Interesting point. Bounced up the middle as Mercer and Frazier combined to take care of Montero and wrap up the side in the 4th. Andrew McCutchen leads things off in the home half. We go there with the Pirates on top 2-zip. Half of the 4th inning as Josh Bell leads things off for the home side. Bell, McCutchen, and Jaso here against Jake Arrieta. And Arrieta gets the corner.
Josh Bell and his back foot used to be closer to the backside of the batter's box. Now his front foot, which is going to be closer to the backside as he closes up to hit. And he will, as most left-handers will, down and in, he likes it. Up and in, he can pull it. But he'll go the other way as well. A lot of fly balls. But that back foot adjustment gets him closer to the plate and more plate coverage.
Ball and 2 strikes. Andrew McCutchen waits next. Bell walked in the first, homered and tripled yesterday. "12 home runs, leads the Pirates. I don't know that many folks expect Josh Bell to lead the team in home runs come the end of September. That's a mantle that they hope goes to McCutchen or Polanco. Although Polanco is going to have a lot of catching up to do. But boy, that seems to be something of a theme in baseball. Aaron Judge atop the list, leading the Yankees in the free world with 23. Cody Bellinger went deep again today, number 19, to lead the Dodgers. Hunter Renfroe in San Diego, Matt Davidson in Chicago. And a swing and a miss puts away Bell. 5 strikeouts for Arrieta tonight.
Arrieta trying to bury it down, and he does, and gets a good break. And this is about the time frame, the 4th, 5th, and 6th. He starts getting in better form. We already mentioned the 1st through the 3rd inning has given him a little bit behind the 8 ball.
Here's Andrew McCutchen now trying to extend a modest 7-game hitting streak tonight. Jake Arrieta, meanwhile, has struck out 5 of the last 8 batters that he's faced. 0-2.
A lot of at-bats McCutchen has had against Arrieta coming in. But Jake has had success striking him out as well. 10 times.
Yeah, there aren't many Pirate hitters that can claim great success against Arrieta over the years, especially the ones that have been around for a while. Andrew McCutchen just 11 for 44 lifetime against Arrieta. Gets even worse than that. Josh Harrison's not starting tonight, largely because he's never been able to figure out Arrieta.
Yeah, the only guy that's had success is the new guy, Bell. That's it.
2-2 to McCutchen is squared up and sent to center field, but Happ's able to run it down for out number 2. Well, tomorrow it's final round coverage of the 117th U.S. Open Championship from Erin Hills as the world's greatest players battle to be crowned America's champ. It all begins at 11 a.m. Eastern, only on Fox, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Your leaderboard through the 3rd round, John.
Unreal, really. They've had good conditions up until this point. Not going to be the case tomorrow. Conditions look a little bit rough. So look for that scoreboard to not be as generous as it is right now. Those are high scores.
When you say rough, what do you mean? What's going to happen?
20-mile-an-hour winds, possible rain. Conditions are going to be much more difficult for a course that should be difficult. But the great pros are bringing it to its knees right now. At least the leaders are.
0-1 the count to John Jaso. Jaso a strikeout victim, the first of 5 in this one so far tonight. John had been swinging the bat well at the start of play. 8 for 21 over his last 5. That's bounced up the line and a foul ball.
That's his real hair, right?
It is indeed.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's not one of the Carlos Martinez squid extension kits that was going around in St. Louis earlier this year. That was foul right off the bat.
Look at that. What?
Ball and 2 strikes the count to John Jaso.
Well, they called that hitting his foot. I didn't see it, but see anything.
Well, it came off the bat into the batter's box. And Arrieta strikes him out for a second time tonight. 6 for Jake this evening. Still trailing, however, our score through 4, 2-0 Pirates. It's 2-0 lead through 4. The Polanco home run in the first has been the difference. Ivan Nova has been efficient. Jake Arrieta has struck out 6. Anthony Rizzo has a couple of base hits as the Cubs leadoff hitter once again tonight. Nova continues in the 5th. He gets Jason Hayward, Javi Baez, and Kyle Schwarber for Chicago.
Hayward having a much better campaign than last year. Of course, made some mechanical changes, been really aggressive early in the count and had some success. Leads the team with first pitch hits of 15. But the longer he has success, the longer he's going to feel more comfortable with the adjustments he's made in his swing.
Ball and 2 strikes.
Much more athletic position, getting his hands away from him. He was tying himself up. Last year was a really tough year for him, not defensively, but offensively.
And a called strike 3. But Jason thought that might have been a little high and away. And it's the 3rd strikeout of the game for Ivan Nova.
Really good pitch. Jason about 6'5" at the belt. See where it goes through the box. Catch the top, almost the top corner.
Here's Javier Baez now with 1 out. He was denied a base hit on a great catch by Andrew McCutchen to end the 2nd inning tonight. We should remind folks just tuning us in, if you're wondering what's with the blue, MLB again donating all royalty payments from the sale of specialty caps and jerseys to the Prostate Cancer Foundation and Stand Up to Cancer. And whereas in years past on Father's Day, players have worn blue wristbands, used the blue bat, the blue color has been incorporated into the entire uniform for all 30 teams this year. And tomorrow on Father's Day, a specially stitched baseball will be used in all the Sunday games. Baez with a liner into the gap in left center field. Closing ground is Jaso, and he makes the catch laying out. I think John may have surprised himself there.
Well, another good play. Robs Baez. This looked like it could have been a problem. But Jaso behind McCutchen, keeping his hand, well, almost kept his eye on it. It looked like it was a tweener there, and he was able to make the play.
Yeah, he had to catch at least a little glimpse of Andrew McCutchen to make sure he wasn't going to get smoked in the chops. And 2 gone now with the bases empty for Kyle Schwarber. John's usually at first base, and guy who did a lot of catching in the big leagues as well when he began his career with Tampa Bay. He's making just his 10th career start in left tonight. A 1-1 count to Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber was leading off for most of the season, and then he's been dropped because his average, you see, lowest in baseball. And hard to believe, if you followed and watched last year's World Series, what he was able to do after missing most of the year. And that's the problem, because everybody, including myself, went, wow, is he going to be a monster this year? He's going to be healthy. He's going to play every day. But think about it. He missed all of last year and only had a short span of the World Series with the incredible adrenaline, and then had the off season off. And that's very difficult for a hitter in his timing, to just think that you could miss a whole year and a half and change and come back and just regain what that postseason was like, which was far and beyond anything I could have ever comprehended, by the way.
I mean, he was a guy that the Indians had to game plan against. And I still think this, as he takes ball 4, I still think that the defensive innings he plays in left field have made his other side of the scorecard, his work at the plate, a little more challenging. He's not an outfielder by trade. And I'm not sure that, that learning curve defensively hasn't affected his offensive contributions at some point. Here's Jake Arrieta now.
Jake's got the capability to hit the long ball.
Yes, he does. A home run in last year's Division Series win against the Giants. Won the Silver Slugger Award at pitcher in the National League.
That was a good pitch by Nova, even though he missed. Right, a perfect situation for a pitcher with 2 outs to kind of rush the first pitch and try to cherry pick a fastball and tie the game up. He went with the curveball but missed it high.
Two-out walk, has a base runner aboard in front of him, and he's in front 2-0. By the way, this is just the second time in 25 starts as a Pirate that Ivan Nova has walked 2 in a game. Here's his 2-0 to Arrieta, and it's in for a strike. Top of the order, Anthony, Ricky Henderson, Rizzo waiting on deck.
Walking the 8th hitter with 2 outs is a no-no in the National League, because it gets the pitcher out of the way.
Broke his bat and popped him up. Cervelli will not have a play, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Unless it's a 1-run game and that 8th hitter can take you deep, you want to be able to start the next inning with the pitcher leading off. It's interesting. We talked with Clint Hurdle and we asked him about lineup. You asked him about lineup construction and how the evolution has changed. And he said something very interesting that I've always felt in the National League. The 8th hitter is one of the most difficult spots to hit. And Mercer has been hot the last 30 games. He said, we know he can handle that in the 8th spot. I'm not so sure Schwarber will be able to stay in the 8th spot, but that's where he is right now, currently in the lineup for the Cubs.
And Arrieta lifts off to left. Jaso on the run, and that one's gone. Arrieta's first of the year, and he says with one swing of the bat, I'll do this myself.
He was the one that wanted to take on Mad Bum in a home run hitting competition at the All-Star game not too long ago. No batting gloves, which is rare for a pitcher, but got a favorable count. And he said he's back right now. He takes a lot of pride, very athletic. And there is not a better feeling for a pitcher when you hit a home run, nonetheless tie the game up after a 2-out walk.
An extremely rare 2-out walk from Ivan Nova. And then he's got the pitcher, and all of a sudden he blinks, and it's a 2-2 tie. So back to Rizzo now, who's 2 for 2 tonight, the 0-1 home.
Well, he has the demeanor to go out and pitch after a home run. I didn't. I got way too excited. I don't think I fared well after hitting a home run. It's just such an unexpected, or at least I felt so unexpected. It's like hitting a hole-in-one, but he doesn't change his expression very much.
Well, you and I were in the booth the last time Jake Arrieta hit a home run, and we mentioned it a moment ago, the home run against Bumgarner in the division series last year. And that is as much emotion as I think either one of us has ever seen from Jake Arrieta. That heartbeat just doesn't change very much. Two balls and 2 strikes the count.
Yeah. This is a pitch, inner half, and he barreled it. Oh, to make that jog. You want it to last a little longer, but you don't want hitters to do that to you.
He is emotionless. And it's another full count from Nova. 2 walks, 3 full counts in the last couple of innings from a guy whose control has been impeccable all year long. The payoff pitch home. Into the shift to retire the side. Not before the damage is done. Jake Arrieta doing it on both sides of the scorecard tonight. A brand new storyline in the middle of the ball game, tied at 2. By Sprint, works for me. 2-2 ball game. Couple of home runs in this one. Gregory Polanco's 2-run shot for the Pirates in the first, and that man Jake Arrieta tying it with a 2-run home run in the 5th. Arrieta back to work. He'll get Jordy Mercer, Ivan Nova, and Adam Frazier in a 2-2 game. Mercer with a hot shot off the glove of Bryant and into the corner. Mercer to second with a leadoff double.
I mentioned Mercer's been real hot the last 30 games. He's been good against right-handed pitchers. The only thing is, this is not an ordinary right-handed pitcher. He's struggled against Jake Arrieta, but off the glove of Bryant, who normally makes that play, puts Nova in a position to bunt him over if they want to third, or take their chances of him hitting it the opposite way. Now the Cubs will bring in an extraordinarily different defense for bunts. Rizzo is on top of the pitcher to a point where you go, wow, that's a wow. The pitcher has to pull back, and the only reason they do that is they have confidence that Nova cannot hit the ball to the right side. So they do the scouting report, and they simply are going to try to take away the ability for Nova to bunt and move the runner over to third by using the first baseman in an unusual way.
Nova pulls back, tried to butcher Boyd through the left side that time, behind 0-2.
Here's the only way it works, right? I mean, you got to be able to put the ball in play, and I don't know that Nova has had much experience in this, but you can't be afraid of the ball or be afraid of getting hit, and that's a brick house anyways in Rizzo. He's just not afraid. That's why he can get right on top.
0-2. I mean, it's amazing to see as soon as the pitch is delivered, Rizzo sprint between the mound and the plate. There he goes. I mean, fearless.
Obviously, Nova would like to bunt it down the third base line.
And that one bounces away from Montero. Well, the Pirates will get that runner over anyway. And Nova, as it turns out, didn't have to do a thing. Wild pitch charged to Arrieta.
Yeah, that'll be frustrating because of the fact that Nova not a good hitter, and with 2 strikes you like your chances if you're Jake Arrieta. Now a runner on third, it's almost as if he's done his job. This is bonus time for Nova.
The 11th wild pitch of the year from Arrieta, the most in the game. And a called strike 3 taken by Nova. Good weekend series in Houston with the Red Sox and Astros. Kevin Burkhardt in our Fox Sports studios has in game break and an update. KB. Yeah, Kevin, and the Astros had lost 7 of their last 10, lost a little bit of mojo, but boy, with that lineup flexing its muscle almost every night, there's no doubt who the best team in the AL West is. Adam Frazier takes strike 1. Astros have a chance, John, to put 5 or 6 guys into the All-Star game.
Yeah, they could be last year's version of the Cubs, I would think. Cubs sent just about their whole team.
They have never had more than 5 Astros represent the team at a single All-Star game, but this could be the year for a franchise record. Infield in once again. Well, you compare him to last year's Cubs. Through 68 games, identical runs per game. Astros hit a little bit more. Last year's Cubs pitched a little bit more. But it's the same kind of runaway differential atop the pack. A ball and a strike to count to Adam Frazier, who's had a rough time of late with runners in scoring position. Just 1 for his last 16. That's fouled at the plate.
Pretty good reaction there by Montero. how quick he grabs this ball, thinking, all right, we've seen one of these. I'll get the quick out.
Ball and 2 strikes.
Bounce something right here. The runner on third.
And Frazier lines it foul.
Left it up.
Neither one of these teams has gone gangbusters with runners in scoring position this year. Pirates hit .247. That's slightly under the league average, and it puts them 21st in the league. Cubs, as we've documented, have really had a hard time in spots like this. Only Toronto has a lower batting average with runners in scoring position. It's fouled away, and it's still a 2-strike count to Adam Frazier.
Frazier battles. He's behind on the count, has a .236 average coming into the game, which is pretty good. He's trying to battle, do everything he can to put this ball in play, possibly loop it over the drawn-in infield, high chop or something, fly ball. Jake's trying to do the opposite.
The next 1-2. And Frazier has an RBI base hit. Adam Frazier, it seems, has saved his best nights for the Chicago Cubs. That base hit makes him 7 for 16 against the Cubbies, and more importantly, drives in the go-ahead run.
Not a bad pitch. He tried to get a sinker away, and that's exactly where the pitch was. But with a drawn-in infield, of course, you just raise the average of the hitter if he puts it in play, because the decreased chance for them to make that kind of play. They're hoping to cut the runner off at home. Frazier delivered.
Here's Cervelli now 0 for 2 tonight. But Jake Arrieta had really been stingy with runners in scoring position. He had limited opponents to a 2 for their last 30. And in this nice outdoor bullpen, the Cubs relief corps getting hot. Brian Dunsing up to start an assignment. There goes Frazier.
Had it stolen easy. Cervelli needed to lay off that pitch.
The Pirates have not had a great time in terms of stolen base percentage this year. Just better than 57%. That's the 3rd worst percentage in all of baseball. Frazier looked like he wanted to run in the first. Oh, look out. Another wild pitch from Arrieta. Hit the bull, win a stake. That was nuke the loose type stuff.
Yeah, that ball just slipped out of his hand. And Jake last start had a little problem with a cut on his thumb. And this one you could tell it's going to be a breaking ball, and it just slips out of his hand.
Second wild pitch of the inning. And Cervelli has a chance to knock in a run with a base hit now. Frazier at second with 1 gone. Pitching coach Chris Bosio keeping his eye on Jake Arrieta. You know, you mentioned the cut on his thumb, and Joe Madden was under the impression that it was really more from use than it came from, say, a specific incident. A wear mark that has become irritated and opened up, and it was a problem in his last start, as you mentioned. Pirates taking advantage of the opportunities they've had so far. 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Polanco has homered and doubled tonight. Left-handed batter due up next, and one that's had success against Arrieta tonight. That's why Brian Dunsing got up in a hurry in the Cubs bullpen. 2-2 to Cervelli.
Everything moves. Everything moves that Jake throws. It can be great and unhittable, and it can be a little frustrating at times when he misses location. He's got about 5 pitches. We've seen the curveball, slider, 2-seamer, 4-seamer doesn't throw quite as much, and then a cutter, which I believe was that last pitch down and away to Cervelli.
Bounced back to Arrieta, who's on it to get it over to Rizzo for round number 2. You know, except for the strikeout total, and it's a higher number tonight, John. He struck out 7. It's starting to look like a real similar line as to the game he put together Sunday at home against the Rockies. 4 1/3.
Got 2 batters in the box. What's happening? Oh, wait.
They're going to intentionally walk Polanco.
Yeah, you don't have to throw it anymore.
So this started looking even closer to his last one. He walked 3 on Sunday. That's his 2nd walk tonight. That of the intentional variety, the 4 wide ones.
They batted out of order.
You know, in 2015, Arrieta was so good you could have put hitters in the right, left side of the box at the same time, and it wouldn't have bothered him. Here's Freese now. First pitch to David Freese is a big deal. It misses to make it 1-0. And for David Freese, the difference between 1-0 and 0-1 is very significant. After a 1-0 count, he hits .364. When it goes the other way, he hits .262. So that's a 100-point difference as the throw for Polanco's too late. About 100 points of differential. The league in general has about a 40-point difference between 1-0 and 0-1. That first pitch means a little bit more to David Freese, obviously. In front 2-0 here. An all-star back in 2012 as a Cardinal. And he punches that one foul.
Well, we talk about what pitchers have done and how they reinvented themselves. How about what the course of his career was shaping until he came here? You just mentioned a World Series hero, and he goes downward trend ever since then, and to the point where he gets a late job with the Pirates, and he's been solid with the Pirates. Realized some of his mistakes in his career, what he took for granted. Turned it around.
Yeah, a couple of years with the Angels where it looked like things were trending down. Look out. Takes that one in the shoulder. And Arrieta's wild inning continues. My goodness. A hit batsman and 2 wild pitches. Here comes Joe Maddon, and he's seen enough.
Talked about the stoic personality and emotions. Let's see if that's the case here.
Boy, riding high emotionally after the 2-run home run, and goes out there the next half inning and has failed to complete 5 for the 4th time in 14 starts. traffic on base. Bases are loaded, in fact. 2 out here in the 5th, a run in, and that's his partially completed line in 4 2/3. Josh Bell, the first to face the reliever. Left-hander Brian Dunsing will look for this final out to try to get the Cubs out of this jam.
Dunsing doing a nice job coming over. Once was a starter, now reliever, and with Montgomery in the rotation, he's the lefty out of the pen.
Bell has walked and struck out tonight. Hit safely in 7 of his last 8 at the start of play. Frazier at third, Polanco at second, and Freese at first after being hit by a pitch. A run in on the Frazier RBI single to give the Bucks 1-run lead. Andrew McCutchen waits next. Two and two.
Good pitch there down in the zone. Whether it's right or left-handed, Bell trying to lift the baseball. Kind of a toe tap down and then looking. It's like a golf swing.
Well, there's a lot going on there, huh?
Yeah, a lot of power, but also a lot of swings and misses.
The 2-2 from Dunsing, and it'll be a full count now, 3-2. Now Dunsing in dangerous territory here. Bases loaded, a full count with 2 out, and Andrew McCutchen waiting on deck.
Well, if you think he's going to swing, you make your best secondary pitch here with the bases loaded, because if you don't make a good fastball pitch, this game could get broken open with a grand slam.
The 3-2 home. And Bell sends a drive out to shallow center field, laying out his half, and he makes the catch to retire the side. One in the Pirates' half of the inning to give them a 3-2 lead. Is sponsored by MasterPass, the simple, secure way to pay, and by Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. Pirates back on top after a run in the bottom of the 5th inning. We start the top half of the 6th. Ivan Nova back to work on Ian Happ, offering aggressively early in the count, as has been the case ever since he was called up. 0 for 2 so far tonight. The pride of Mount Lebanon High School here in Pittsburgh, with a big catch to prevent any further damage in the bottom of the 5th inning, breaking hearts here locally.
That swing's getting bigger and bigger since he got called up. Of course, he came up and had instant success. But the bigger the swing, the more chances for a pitcher to get you out. You see the numbers on the first and second pitch. But then all the others, he has really expanded the zone, and the pitcher's luxury is going anywhere behind in the count. Like that.
Swing and a miss. Cervelli picks up and finishes for the out. You know, Kenny, with Ian Happ, you'd think that a local product like that wouldn't get away from the clutches of the host major league team, but he was undrafted out of high school here in Pittsburgh.
Actually is none other than our MLB Network colleague Sean Casey, the mayor. Now, the two met at a suburban high school gym in Pittsburgh when Happ was in high school. Casey gave Happ the Harvey Dorfman book, The Mental Keys to Hitting. He told Happ, read the book every day, act on its instructions, never waste a pitch. And to show you how seriously Ian Happ took that advice, he still carries that book in his backpack.
That's amazing. Chris Bryant has struck out twice tonight. Well, you know, Happ, as he was undrafted out of high school, as we mentioned, he went to the University of Cincinnati, and his fans around here certainly are familiar. He was the Bearcats' best hitter all 3 years he was there. And the Cubs made him their first-round pick in 2015, number 9 overall. Called up May 13th and became just the 5th Cubs player to homer in his big league debut, as Chris Bryant has turned the hat trick, 3rd time he struck out tonight.
As they play. That's brutal. 3 times a lady. Only in the home park.
Is Lionel Richie aware of that? I mean, does he know what the Pirates are doing?
Right now, they're getting him down. They're getting him leaning out over the plate, and you're just walking him away. When Bryant, pitchers, you better take advantage of this because it isn't going to last.
Miguel Montero now. Well, the hat trick, the sombrero. In fact, back to Ian Happ, as we're talking about hat tricks and golden sombreros. Happ did something during the week against the Mets that only 5 players in Major League history have ever done, and that's hit a grand slam in the same game. You earn a golden sombrero.
That's tough to do.
Little bouncer back to Nova, who responds with a very quick 1-2-3 6th. To the bottom of the inning, still 3-2 Pittsburgh. of the summer are back-to-back. The action begins at the T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and then catch baseball's biggest stars, the 88th annual Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 11th right here on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30, 4:30 Pacific, and here are the leaders in the National League balloting process. Bryce Harper is the leading vote getter in the circuit. Daniel Murphy went to an All-Star game once in 7 years as a Met. He's about to go twice in 2 years as a National. And Zach Cozart is in line to become a first-time All-Star. Andrew McCutchen's gone to the All-Star game 5 times, and he's just gone deep tonight.
Well, I don't know if he went up there looking for a curveball in particular, but probably looking in location and saying, I'm going to let it go, because the first pitch curveball sitting right there on a tee, and McCutchen didn't miss it.
Well, we didn't even have a chance to mention Justin Grimm's name yet. First pitch he throws in relief is promptly hit out. Grimm taking over here in the 6th. Yields the home run to McCutchen, and now working to John Jaso. Justin's already on his 3rd stint with the Major League team this year. He's been on that AAA Iowa shuttle a lot again this season.
He's got good stuff, but he's having a hard time putting it together. Command with the fastball. You saw the overhand breaking ball. Saw McCutchen staying warm as it warms up here in June.
An 8-game hitting streak for McCutchen. John Jaso follows with a drive out to center field. Happ on the move, and at the track makes the catch. Let's take you back to McCutchen's 12th home run of the year.
Well, you go up to the first pitch looking for something over the middle, and he gets it. Sees the breaking ball. Doesn't deviate from that stroke that was really putting him in MVP categories for so many different years. Looks like he's getting it back.
One gone now for Jordy Mercer. Some real positive trends from McCutchen and the Pirates, and has been the case for a while. As goes Kutch, so go the Bucks. McCutchen's first 6 home runs came in 172 at-bats. His next 6 home runs have come in 73 at-bats. As Mercer sends a ball foul. .187 career home runs for McCutchen, and there have only been 3 Pirates who have ever hit more.
You know, some managers put some stock into that and some don't, but I think there's a lot of success for when a particular guy has success in a game and the high probability that his team wins versus not having success. For the Cubs, that's Chris Bryant. When they win, he's smoking it, and when they don't, he's hitting under 200. It's not to put it all on Chris Bryant, but you like your better hitters in the lineup where they bat. When they have success, you like your chances for them to score runs. Tonight, 3 strikeouts.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mercer. Ivan Nova, appreciating the support, gets his 2-run lead back. Grimm's 3-2 is sent to the opposite field. Hayward in the corner, and he reaches out and makes a fine catch at the track.
Yeah, not much room. You see he's on the track, tall wall behind him, but then the short wall comes back in play. He slides and doesn't even hit the wall.
Four-time Gold Glover in right. And there are 2 gone in the inning now. And Ivan Nova will make his 3rd plate appearance of the ballgame. Nova a strikeout victim in both of his plate appearances against Arrieta.
I'm just going to go out and say that Jason Hayward would be the Kelvin Johnson of football receivers. I think he's got that ability.
Yeah,
go get it.
He's an amazing athlete. Ivan's heart probably wasn't in that swing. The swing and miss puts an end to the inning. Not before Andrew McCutchen's 12th of the year can deliver a 4-2 Pirates lead. Every device, watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Andrew McCutchen's 12th of the year, making it a 4-2 Pirates lead as Ivan Nova goes back to work. Addison Russell leads off for the Cubs. Russell, Hayward, and Baez. Russell is singled and grounded into a fielder's choice play tonight. Swings and sends a ball to the corner in left. Jaso can only watch, and that one's gone. Addison Russell's 6th of the year, and it's back to a 1-run ball game.
First ball that Nova has gotten up in a while. I was just getting ready to say the balance in his mechanics and the sinker down in the zone has given the Cub hitters trouble. That's the first run that a position player has contributed in. Of course, Jake hit a 2-run homer, but that pitch is up, and Russell didn't miss it. Jason Hayward, as we mentioned, super aggressive. See if he looks to swing on the first pitch and try to get the game tied.
Hayward is 0 for 2 tonight. You know, optimistic Cub fans, and there is such a thing, they will point to Addison Russell's start last year when they talk about the upside that's left this year. It was around this time of the season last year when Joe Maddon moved him into the 5 spot, and he took off. Ended up as an all-star, hit 20 home runs, drove in 95, 23 home runs to be exact. Russell's first 2 months this year very similar to the way he started in 2016. So if he can finish the way he did last year, then good things are in the future for the Cubs. And Hayward lines his shot into right center field. Angels at home tonight, taking on the hottest team in the American League, and Kevin Burkhardt has a game break. KB. Well, you bet. The names get more and more impressive the closer you inch up to that list. And it looks like Ray Searage is going to come out for a conversation at this point with Ivan Nova. When Leo came out to talk to you guys, would he ever cover up his mouth with his hand? I mean, you could barely understand what he was saying, and he was standing right in front of you.
That's true. That is true. No, yeah, every once in a while. He was pretty blunt. He was going to tell you how he felt right away.
Hey, a reminder, next Saturday, the Brewers take on Matt Kemp and the Braves at 4 Eastern on FS1, and then it's another NL Central showdown as these Pirates take on Yadi Molina and the Cardinals at 7 Eastern on Fox. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Home run and a single, and now it's Javi Baez, and Nova will check in on Hayward.
We are going to be in San Francisco. You and I.
Yes, we are. We are indeed. On the corner, and it's 0-1 to Baez. You know, we just saw the visit from Ray Searage, and we spent a little bit of time talking about the fine Pirates pitching coach earlier and the many reclamation projects that Searage has had here, from household name guys like A.J. Burnett, like Edinson Volquez, to pitchers like Charlie Morton, Kevin Correa. A lot of turnarounds here as Baez bunts. Bell's got it, and he applies the tag for out number 1. Searage's own career, and we were talking about this with Clint Hurdle today, is the type that would imply a guy knows how to kind of battle, right? He had Tommy John surgery. He was kicked around, pitched for a bunch of different teams in a 7-year career. When he made his major league debut, he came in relief of Pat Zachary as a Met and drew Tom Seaver, then a Red, in 1981. Gave up a base hit to Pete Rose, struck out Ken Griffey Sr., Ron Oster, and Dave Concepcion. Felt pretty good about himself, and then at midnight that night the players went on strike. A guy that's always had to kind of battle and punch his way through. It's no wonder he's a good pitching coach. Nothing's ever come easy for him. Here's Kyle Schwarber now with a runner aboard.
A lot hasn't come easy for Kyle Schwarber this year. The average way down. He still hit some home runs, but he's missing his pitch, and you could say that to a degree where when you ask Joe Maddon what's kind of the difference, is that the pitches he's getting, he's missing. He's fouling back. He's not putting them in play where he could do damage with them.
He's walked and lined out tonight. Boy, you got Cervelli up in the Bill Dickey stance there, almost standing up to set his target. A ball and a strike.
And that's the area you can go to right now for Schwarber, because the where he keeps his hands and then the way he's got to get the bat started in the zone. Good athlete. You know he's going to turn it around, but right now mentally taking a few bumps.
Just 2 for his last 21 with runners in scoring position, as one is for him here.
He had to feel good over in Citi Field, though, when he hit a ball about 700 feet,
yeah,
even though it only showed 470.
Yeah. Second longest home run of his career. I think it was it 460
467, I think, was the actual.
And he wraps that one up the first base line, fielded by Nova for out number 2.
This is the impressive thing about Nova. In New York, his body would get out in front of himself. He would cast the curveball every once in a while, and we talked about the fastball command. He, no matter what the circumstances, no matter if it was the 2-run homer to Jake Arrieta or the home run he gave up to Russell, he hasn't deviated from his mechanics. He hasn't sped up. He looks like it's one heartbeat, and that's the confidence I'm talking about a pitcher. Once he starts feeling he can compete with no matter who's at the plate and not get carried away with the environment around him.
John Jay is announced as the pinch hitter here with a runner at 3rd and 2 gone. A run in on the Russell home run. Jay had a big pinch hitting appearance late yesterday. An RBI single that snapped the 4-4 tie in the 9th, and then of course the Cubs would add on.
Jay likes the first pitch too.
Takes a first pitch fastball up around the eyes, a ball and no strikes. Nova still with a reasonable 89 pitch count tonight as he tries to finish off the 7th inning. And it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Joe Madden said, you know, it's kind of this way as a player too. When you watch somebody from afar, and then the moment you get to get them on your team, you appreciate things a lot differently. That's the way he feels about John Jay. Getting to see him on a daily basis is really impressed with this guy's ability to play the game.
And he's in front, 3 balls and no strikes now, and you're into dangerous territory with Rizzo waiting on deck, who's got a couple of hits tonight.
By all accounts, this will be Nova's last hitter, you would think.
Three balls and a strike. Yeah, if body language counts, it Nova looks like a guy who's near the end of the gas tank. Cervelli sets an inside target, and Nova delivers it right to the glove to fill the count at 3-2.
They make 2 great pitches behind in the count. Set up inside and dots it inside. Late movement.
Russell led off the inning with the home run. Hayward singled. He's since been moved to 3rd with 2 away. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to the pinch hitter John Jay. The payoff pitch. Got him swinging. An exclamation point to what looks like the end of the night for Ivan Nova. What a terrific start. His 6th strikeout of the game comes in a big moment. He hangs on to his 1-run lead and sends this game to the last of the 7th with the Pirates on top a run. By Nasacort Allergy 24-hour stops more of what makes you miserable. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Hey, this summer, some of the biggest names in basketball, including Allen Iverson, Chauncey Billups, Kenyon Martin, and Jermaine O'Neal, head out on a 10-city professional 3-on-3 battle. Ice Cube presents Big 3 basketball. Changing the game starting July 26th, only on FS1. A new pitcher for the Cubs in a one-run ball game, last of the 7th. Carl Edwards Jr. takes over for Chicago. He'll get the top of the order for Pittsburgh.
A little bit of a hiccup in Citi Field. He was basically untouched for most of the year. Electric fastball, good overhand curveball.
Yeah, despite that outing against the Mets, he has still held opponents to just a 116 batting average this year. Frazier, Cervelli, and Polanco here in the Pirates half of the 7th. Cubs won the opener yesterday, a 6-run ninth doing the job. And Joe Maddon's hoping for a win tonight and or tomorrow to try to give the Cubs their first road winning series in 6 weeks. Edwards loses the leadoff hitter here in the 7th.
There's a little different emotion from the two starting pitchers. He let it all out. He waited. He was calm all night. And he realized this is the moment. This was the moment that gives him a chance to possibly win a baseball game for his team. Maybe he's not done. Who knows? Sticking around.
Yeah, I don't know that we can say definitively if he's out of the game or not. The Pirates bullpen has had their share of troubles closing out ball games, so remains to be seen. Leadoff hitter aboard now for Francisco Cervelli.
The only thing I'd be leery of, having been there, done that many times, is when a starting pitcher comes out and exudes that much emotion and energy. It's a little more difficult to go back out there and be back in that kind of calm mode. But it looks like right now he's going back out.
Kind of like the closer that's asked to record the 4 or 5 out save, right?
But they've lost some strange games. They had 2 games in Baltimore that they definitely had won. And Baltimore came back twice, rallied 4 runs in the 9th, won them in extra innings, and that kind of took the wind out of their sails. But to their credit, they came back and won a couple games in their own right. Kind of stay in this race. To your point, the Central has just been blah, with the exception of the Milwaukee Brewers.
I mean, and that's kind of where the Pirates are, in that strange gray area. Do you add? Do you try to sell some pieces? I mean, we're not there yet. We usually get through the discussions of the All-Star game, and then all of our attention focuses on the trade market. Big swing and a miss from Cervelli.
See, to me, the deceiving part is how many games they're back. I always look at the record. I mean, if you can't play 500 baseball, at least getting to this point, not to say that they can't go on a nice run, but sometimes the games back fools you to thinking that you're in a better position than you are.
Oh, and 2 the count to Francisco Cervelli. And a swing and a miss for out number 1. Well, Kenny, I think last year the fact that the Cubs had built such a commanding lead around the trade deadline made for an easier decision here in Pittsburgh when they decided to make some moves. What about this year?
Well, Matt, even last year, they were just 3 games out in the wild card race when they made the trade of Mark Melancon. Now, they could face a very similar situation with McCutchen this season. Clearly, it's not getting away from them in the Central, so they could be within 3, 4, 5 games. And if they are, that's going to be the tough part. As John said, you can be fooled. Now, if they're clearly in it, they're keeping McCutchen. But if they feel that they're not where they want to be, then they could do the same thing that they did with Melancon. And if you remember, guys.
Yeah, we're going to have to abbreviate that thought after a niftily turned double play. Baez to Russell to Rizzo. Kenny, we'll get back to the Pirates and the trade deadline as we continue Nothing despite the leadoff walk to the 8th in a 4-3 Pirates lead. Can I see that page again? Can't miss event of the summer. Hit South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game July 11th right here on Fox. Back here in Pittsburgh in a 4-3 ball game. The Pirates trying to hold serve in the 8th, and they'll do so with Daniel Hudson, the former Diamondback right-hander. He'll get the top of the order in the 8th inning. Hudson worked yesterday, retired 3 of the 4 batters he faced in a scoreless 7th, and inherits a 1-run advantage here tonight in the 8th.
Well, fastball. You see 96. He has a slider that acts more like a slurve. It's a smaller break, and then a changeup he rarely throws. Pretty much going to attack the hitters.
Anthony Rizzo digging in aggressively, knows he's had some success against Hudson in the past. He's faced him 4 times and has hit 2 home runs against him. 1-1. It was Gregory Polanco's home run that started the scoring in the 1st. The Pirates jumped off to an early lead. Jake Arrieta tied it on his own behalf with a 2-run home run in the 5th. Buck scored runs in the 5th and 6th. Here's Rizzo into center field. McCutchen ranging over to put it away for out number 1. So now Ian Happ with 1 gone. And we've talked about how the bullpen has been the source of some consternation for the Pirates, and if we get back down to Kenny to talk about the Bucks and whatever might happen between now and the trade deadline, Kenny, if they're adding, would that be a place of focus on the market this year?
It certainly would, Matt, but I expect them to both buy and sell just like they did last year. And if you remember their moves last year, they traded Melanson, they traded Liriano, they acquired Nova. They were quite controversial here in Pittsburgh. But it turns out that the Pirates did the right thing. And in hindsight, these deals look really good. Nova, of course, has been a revelation. Felipe Rivero, the return from Melanson, is now the Pirates closer, and even the most controversial deal. That was the one with Liriano and 2 prospects going to the Blue Jays for Drew Hutchison. That's worked to the Pirates' advantage as well. The Hutchison prospect end of it, really none of them have performed at all. But the big key for the Pirates was getting out of Liriano's $13 million for this year. What did that do? It enabled them to sign Nova. It enabled them to extend David Freese. And the pitcher we're looking at on the mound, Daniel Hudson, he was part of the savings too.
Well, yeah, and so many people, as Kenny mentioned, John, they thought that the Pirates were punting last year in those moves because I think to the lay fan, it didn't make a lot of sense as Happ sends a bolt into right. It checks up in front of Polanco, and Ian Happ's on his way to second. Polanco's throw is not in time. And the Cubs have the tying run in scoring position with 1 out in the 8th.
Wow, 2 great plays. Aggressively going for 2 once Polanco slides. Right here he turns it on. The short hop, Polanco had a chance to throw him out at second after making a really good effort to the ball. This ball could have got by him very easily. Great stop, and then he gets up and notice he's going to second and tries his best version to throw him out.
So now it's Chris Bryant, and you can see what Ian Happ's been able to do in terms of extra base hits. My goodness, mixing a single. Bryant 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. Did not have a good time of it against Ivan Nova.
Yeah, this is a little bit different at bat that he'll have, as now they're going to make a change, it looks like.
And it is the aforementioned Rivero who's up, and apparently hot enough for Clint Hurdle to make a switch here. Daniel Hudson gets Anthony Rizzo and then loses Happ to the double. And the Pirates are indeed going to make a change.
Rivero taking his time getting out of that bullpen.
Well, he must have just gotten up. And that's going to be all for Hudson after facing a pair of hitters. A pitching change, and we'll be right back. Shot to redeem what has been a rough night. Not 1, not 2, but 3 strikeouts. Nova got him in the first. Nova got him in the 4th. And the same man, Nova, got him in the 6th. And here's Bryant representing the go-ahead run with the tying run aboard at second against the hard-throwing left-hander Felipe Rivero.
Rivero's got command issues at times, but his fastball plays 96, 97 with a good changeup. Basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Right-handers only hitting 175 off of them, so they don't really care about the splits.
It's a double switch that brings him into the game. Max Moroff takes over at second base for Adam Frazier. Ian Happ, the tying run at second with 1 gone here in the 8th. Well, no sooner do we wrap up the discussion with Ken Rosenthal about the deal that brought Rivero to the Pirates than he is called on to try to get the Bucks out of a jam. Just missed the corner that time at 97.
Yeah, I don't think he missed it. Again, when you miss location, it sets up the umpire to misread the pitch. He's trying to throw it in, and you can see that's a strike. But because you miss location that bad, the umpire is following where the catcher's going. It's a much more difficult call at times.
And he's fallen behind Bryant now, 3 balls and no strikes. Miguel Montero waiting on deck, and it's not him at all. It's Albert Almora Jr. who has just taken Montero's place there.
Bryant will have the green light. If it's one of those pitches in the area he's looking for, he will swing.
Rivero ready, and the 3-0 home. Lost him on ball 4. Threw him a breaking ball there, 3-0. Wasn't going to give in to him. And now it's first and second with 1 gone. So it is Albert Almora Jr. to pinch hit. Joe Maddon has a right-handed bat available. He's also got Wilson Contreras, who can come on and catch the remainder of this game. So set up to use his bench to his liking here. Almora's had a nice week. Had a couple of hits on Wednesday. A 3-for-4 game at Citi Field on Tuesday. And fouls away the first pitch from Rivero.
He has fared well against the opposite arm, the left-handers, this year.
He's also fared well as a pinch hitter this year. 6 for 17 off the bench. And behind here 0-2.
Yeah, 99 coming off the bench. He's been late, and you can understand being late. No matter how much you get ready to come off the bench, you're facing guys today that can throw it 98, 99 miles an hour. Just hoping for a mistake.
The 0-2 to Almora. Into right. And right at Polanco for out number 2.
He got the mistake. Unfortunately, the ball carried out to the right fielder. Rivero trying to go in, but he misses over the plate. But right to Polanco.
So now Addison Russell, whose solo home run leading off the 7th, tightened up the game to the score that you see right now. Again, this is a Cubs team with the National League's worst batting average with runners in scoring position as Russell takes a strike.
And that was one of the keys of the game. Get him on and then get him in. And the one thing that the Cubs up until this point just have not been as productive You always ask a manager, what would you like to do better or see your team do better? And he said situational hitting for sure.
0-2 the count to Addison Russell. And meanwhile, in the other dugout, the Pirates brass hoping that they don't have to endure the same kind of late collapse that they did yesterday. Clint Hurdle's aware of the numbers. The Pirates have 4 losses this year when leading after 7. Only the Mets and Nats have given away more late leads among National League teams. I think that's one of the themes of the season. Bullpen shambles. It's not just here. It's not just in D.C. In the American League, the Twins bullpen's a mess, and teams that are in first place and having success despite a lot of hand-wringing in the late innings. Back up the middle. Moroff gets to it to retire the side. Rivero able to hold serve for the Pirates. To the bottom of the 8th. Still a 1-run game in Pittsburgh. This telecast is sponsored by the all-new Chrysler Pacifica, imported from Detroit, and by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. It's time to grip the moment, sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. And yes, Andrew McCutchen, who won his Gold Glove back in 2012, has played brilliantly on both sides of the scorecard, and with some help from his left fielder John Jaso, who's not as used to roaming that outfield position as McCutchen is. They have robbed Javi Baez not once but twice tonight of a base hit. Another pitching change for the Cubs. They're on their 4th reliever of the game. Pedro Strop takes over on the mound, working to a new catcher as Wilson Contreras comes out to receive. Strop appearing in his 30th game tonight.
It doesn't matter what new hat he has either. It's always tilted to the left side.
Always looks fresh out of the box. David Freese checked it, apparently. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Freese, Bell, and McCutchen here for the Pirates in the 8th, and they'd love to add on. Three balls and a strike.
You mentioned yesterday's game. 3 in the first, 6 in the ninth. Cubs went on to win. Nothing in between.
Roller out to shortstop for Addison Russell, and Freeze retired to open the last of the 8th.
If you think about tonight, it really has only been Russell's home run, because Jake Arrieta provided the 2 runs while he was in there. So once again, the offense for the Cubs has been kind of stagnant most of the game. They'll have one big inning or 2 in the last 5 or so games, but the consistency just is not there.
Josh Bell now, he's 0 for 2 with the base on balls tonight. Andrew McCutchen waits on deck for Pittsburgh. He is homered tonight.
When you think about the Pirates and their outfield being so dynamic, of course, Starlin Marte got suspended this year. That's a big part of their offense and a big part of their defense that they have missed. Eligibility to come back coming up shortly. But that was a blow. That was something nobody expected, and certainly don't want to ever keep talking about players getting suspended for dumb things, and that certainly was one of them. Let the team down and put them in a tough spot.
Into left field, it moves Schwarber, and it's rather Jay, and it's over his head, bounding into the stands. A ground rule double for Josh Bell.
Well, that's the kind of power he has. He can go both sides of the field, even though picking on a 3-0 pitch. Goes gap to gap. Jay tried his best. This ball was hit on the line pretty well the other way off the left-handed bat. It's a different angle. The right-hander hits that. Usually it's hooking back kind of towards the left fielder. A left-hander hits it. It's a little different.
So another spot for Andrew McCutchen for some late heroics. It was a first pitch curveball from Justin Grimm that McCutchen hit out for his 12th of the year as he takes a strike from Stroke.
We did a game here 2 years ago. I'll never forget it, before the All-Star break. One of the most incredible comeback victories for the Pirates. I think it was 14 innings or something. And wasn't it Kutch that had the winning hit?
It was indeed. Last game before the break. McCutchen sends it back to Strope. They've got Bell in a rundown as the tag is applied for out number 2.
Good play by Baez.
Well, for Andrew McCutchen, we mentioned he homered tonight. This is a special day for him. If we flash back to June 17th, 2009, this very date in baseball history, his first career home run. It was so long ago, he hit it at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. And then in the 6th inning tonight, his 187th career home run. The very first and the most recent for Andrew McCutchen, falling on the same day on the calendar. And they're starting to come in bunches, as they do for him in the summer months. Here's John Jaso now with McCutchen at first and 2 gone. When the Cubs bat in the 9th, and they're hoping to do so down by only a run, they'll have the 6, 7, 8 part of the batting order.
Ball loose. The outfield.
You can't boo the hometown guy, everybody. Ian Happ has such a big arm, he airmailed the stands. This guy's like, where'd this come from? Like some guy just threw a ball. I'll take it. He's going to go home and see that on TV tonight. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Breaking ball taken for a strike, 2-1.
Here's the man that probably will be going out for the 9th, trying to finish it out. You would think.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in that towel somewhere.
Another good pitch.
There's nobody up in the Pirates bullpen, so it will be Rivero to go out there and his chance to save it and take it home tonight. And if the Pirates do hang on, that would set up tomorrow's rubber match. John Lackey and Jamison Tyone, who is one of the best stories in baseball this year.
Pretty incredible what he's able to overcome, and came back and pitched scoreless game in his first game back from surgery.
Yeah, missed exactly 5 weeks after undergoing surgery for testicular cancer. And on this day, this weekend, when Major League Baseball tries to raise funds for cancer awareness, it is Tyone to take the ball tomorrow. First things first, there's a matter of this 9th inning tonight. Tomorrow, vote for your 2017 All-Stars with the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Vote at MLB.com/vote and catch all the excitement of the 88th annual Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard, July 11th, right here on Fox. A 4-3 lead for the Pirates, headed to the top half of the 9th. This was a good category out, and Rivero just gets a quick out. Look what I found. Hot shot right up the middle, and Rivero snags it out of midair. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 9th.
And Hayward broke the bat over his knee. I think it broke as it was hit off the end of the bat to Rivero.
Look at this cool customer.
Yeah, right off the end.
It's okay, todo bien.
And then watch Hayward. I think I'll take care of that.
Oh. One gone for Rivero. 2 outs away from just his 6th career save. And the pitch to Pedro Baez, his Javi Baez rather, is taken for a strike. How many teams at season's end will be closing games with somebody other than the guy they closed games with in April? Pirates might be one of them. I think this role might rotate a little bit throughout the year based on what Clint Hurdle has told folks and told us today. Depending on the situation, depending on the part of the order that's hitting, it might be one of a number of guys that gets the 9th. Big swing and a miss to strike him out.
This guy's got the tools. Now it comes down to the makeup. The last pitch to Baez, fading changeup away. Great arm action. Hitter has to be ready for 98, 99, and then he sees that pitch.
So Wilson Contreras, the final piece of business here for Rivero and the Bucks. A non-starter tonight, making his first plate appearance here in the 9th. Another comebacker. And with just a handful of pitches, it's a 1-2-3 9th. The 6th career save for Rivero, and a series-tying victory for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The up-to-the-minute NL Central standings. Milwaukee a loser at home to the Padres today. But the Cubs are not able to gain any ground. The Pirates are. And they'll go to bed tonight 5 back in the NL Central. 4-3 Pirates the final score.
Just hard to believe we'll be talking about the Cubs, World Series Cubs, trying to win a series on the road for the first time in a long time. That just doesn't seem possible. And they're going to have to win that to snap a losing streak on the road as far as series go.
4-3 Pirates the final score tonight. Sets up the rubber match tomorrow in this 3-game series. John Lackey and Jamison Tyone here in the afternoon. The win to Ivan Nova, who improves to 7-4 and bolsters his all-star candidacy. Jake Arrieta, the loss, drops to 6-5. For John Smoltz and Ken Rosenthal, Matt Vasgersian, thanking you for tuning us in tonight. In just a moment, we're going to get you out to the Fox Network studios with Kevin Burkhardt and Nick Swisher. But first, let's send it down to Kenny, who's standing by with one of the Pirates stars tonight.
Thanks, Matt. Andrew, 6th inning, you led off, you hit a first pitch curveball out. Were you looking for that specific pitch or the location?
I was just ready to hit. Not a person that really sits on any pitches unless I really know it's coming. So, you know, I just get myself in a good position. So whatever is over the zone, I'm ready to hit it. Fastball, curveball, doesn't matter.
You've been red hot the last few weeks. You've been the old Andrew McCutchen. In your mind, what has been the difference?
I don't know, man. Just, you know, just working every single day. I know what I'm capable of doing, and, you know, just trust the process. Go out there, just try and just mimic, do the same thing over and over and over. Get a real good feel and a consistent feel every single day. And just trying to not to focus on the outcome of the at-bats. So just focus on the feel of it, and then I go from there.
Andrew, congratulations. Matt, back to you.
Kenny, thanks. The Pirates 4-3 winners at home tonight, evening up this 3-game series. For John Smoltz and Ken Rosenthal, Matt Vasgersian wishing you a pleasant evening from Pittsburgh. Again, the final score tonight. Pirates beat the Cubs 4-3. After a quick break, Kevin Burkhardt and Nick Swisher in our Los Angeles studios.